Hey guys, Fox here. I wanted to make another video as I was recently watching Mr. RPG Crazy's favorite games of all time list, or at least in one of his updated videos that he made recently. And I got to thinking after watching his videos, like, I haven't done my top favorite games that I've played throughout my life. And I've done top RPGs and such like that, but not just like all games in general. And so I grabbed a bunch of my favorite games here, and I thought I'd list them off for you guys to just to share what I think are some of the best games that I've ever played. Let's see. I'm not sure how many I got here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 18. Okay, top 18 list for Emperor Fox here. But yeah, I thought this would be fun to talk about. I'd like to see. I like seeing this kind of stuff on YouTube too. People telling us their top games of all time, just in their opinion. I think it's fun to see what people think is the best game out there. So let's start off the list with a Genesis title. Unfortunately, the only Genesis title, but and that's going to be Streets of Rage 2. A lot of memories with this title. My childhood friend Matt, we used to always get a couple bucks from his mom when I would spend the night at his house when we were kids. And she said, "Okay, you guys can go to the local grocery store and go rent a video game." I'd say this was probably the most rented game we did. We've rented it over and over and over again, played through it, loved the music, loved the brawl, 2-player co-op. It was so much fun going through the entire game. And even today, the soundtrack in this game is phenomenal. I love the Streets of Rage series. This is by far the best one in my opinion, but definitely a good title to play through. So hopefully I have these numbers right. Maybe I'll throw up some numbers in the corner so you could see where I rated where these titles rank. So in case you guys are interested, 16 meg power there. All right, up next, there we go, is an NES title, and I think this is the only NES title I have in here. There's a lot of NES titles I played as a kid, but later on in life I just played a lot better games in my opinion. But this one I probably sank thousands of hours into as a kid, and it was during every football season that I would play seasons and upon seasons of Tecmo Super Bowl. Me and my father were big football fans. We used to watch it all the time, and then I would want to go play through a season with a team to see who would win the Super Bowl, who was my picks, who would win the Super Bowl, who would go to the playoffs. Try to get my characters who have the most sacks, passing yards, rushing yards, all that other stuff. This was my biggest sports game, and it still is. I still play this every once in a while. It's just fun. I heard that there's some guys out there that do updated rosters for this game, and they sell it. So it's kind of like Madden. They'll sell out a new copy every year for the teams in the updated rosters, but it's the same gameplay as the NES version of Tecmo Super Bowl. Up next is GameCube title. I think that's the only GameCube title as well. A game that me and my friends put a lot of hours into. We even imported this title from Japan before it came out here and played a lot of it. And that's Super Smash Bros. Melee. We played a hell of a lot of the original Super Smash Bros. And when this game came out and we heard about it, and it released in Japan like 6-7 months earlier than the US got it. So we imported it, we played the shit out of it, and then when it came out in the US, of course, we replayed it again. We used to have tournaments, team tournaments, all kinds of stuff. A lot of fond memories playing Super Smash Bros. Melee. It's probably one of the fastest Smash Bros. Games. This, I don't know if I missed this. Definitely, I wouldn't say this is the best Smash Bros. Game, because I honestly think the new Wii U version is. But this one has the most nostalgic value to me. So this is why this Smash Bros. Is in the list and not for the Wii U. So, Smash Bros. Melee. Up next, for the 3DS, excuse me guys, Fire Emblem Awakening, one of my favorite Fire Emblem games. I know a lot of people will argue this one to me, that they didn't think this one was quite as good as like Path of Radiance, which Path of Radiance is excellent. I still have yet to finish it, but I would like to. I love the characters in this game. I liked them all. They were so much fun. This is probably one of my favorite tactical RPGs. I mean, there's one that's sneaking up, which I'll talk about later, something that might make this list eventually once I finish the game. But I loved Fire Emblem Awakening so much. I love the characters that I even built a little shrine to it up there, to Fire Emblem Awakening, with some Japanese books, art books, some statues, Figmas, amiibos, all that shit. But yeah, absolutely love this game. Up next, for the Super Nintendo, I got a few Super Nintendo games on this list, is Super Metroid. I remember when I first played this game, I borrowed it from my neighbor, and I think I played through it in like 4 days. I think it was in the winter, so it wasn't much time to play outside. Just wanted to sit down and play through this game, and this game has such an incredible atmosphere. The music, just feeling all alone. A lot of people will consider this a almost like a survival horror type title, especially back in the day, with just how dark and spooky and how alone you felt in this strange world. What a game. Very good. So much exploration. You'd revisit areas in the map. I didn't have the internet back then when I played this, so it was me running through every stage, setting off super bombs just to try to find some secret passages so I could get everything. Man, what a fantastic game. I hope you all have played Super Metroid at least once before. It's definitely worth it. I remember once, so when I was a kid and I was playing it, my Super Nintendo controller had a busted left bumper button. So when it came to doing that swinging shit here with the little grappling hook laser thingy, it would always fuck up, and I'd have the hell of a time trying to get past through those areas because of that broken button. Memories. Up next, another Super Nintendo title, Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. My favorite Zelda game. And this actually kind of starts the same with Super Metroid, is that I first played this by borrowing it from my neighbor as a kid. I thought this was amazing. I was like, wow, this game is so much better than the original Zelda on my NES. It's so pretty. The colors are so bright. There's so much to do. Look at these spells you can cast and all this other stuff. I absolutely loved it. I mean, I had my own copy of like Link's Awakening on the Game Boy, which was a fantastic game in its own right, and that's ranked pretty high up there. It's among my Zelda titles. But this is fantastic. Zelda. You know what? There's a game I forgot to put in the list, and I think it would fit right here. So we're gonna go dig for it real quick. Sitting on the floor here, guys. Going to the Game Boy section. Ba-da-da-da. I'm sure you guys know what this is. You probably saw it. Pokemon Red. A lot of fun memories when the Pokemon craze came by storm when these games came out. I mean, everybody was playing it. Everybody at school wanted to trade Pokemon. All that other fun stuff. How many times did you beat the game? What party did you use this time? Let's trade my Vulpix for your Growlithe. All that kind of shit. And then all the stores like Burger King and KFC and all that shit had like Pokemon toys that they're releasing, plushes, and Pokeballs and shit like that. This was a phenomenon, and I don't think it's quite as big today as it used to be, but I still think it is probably one of the top money makers for Nintendo. I don't think the games are. I think the games are starting to go downhill, in my opinion. You're getting way too easy. I mean, X and Y were really simple. The remakes of Ruby and Sapphire were way too simple. They're so easy to beat. I mean, I remember these being difficult, where I'd have to grind quite a bit to get through certain areas. So, Pokemon. Up next, for the PS1. What a good game. It's not talked about enough, I don't think. I mean, except for the fanboys who want a sequel, which is never going to happen. But Legend of Dragoon, one of Sony's internal RPGs. I enjoyed this game a lot. I remember I used to fill up memory cards just saving right before cinematics would happen, because I thought the cinematics were just breathtaking in this game. The battle system was a lot of fun with those timed hits that you would have to do to get, further, better damage, criticals, and all that other stuff. And changing into your Dragoon, all that. The story was pretty epic. I mean, it kind of starts off a little slow, but I thought it picked up well. I mean, you fell in love with some of the characters, and you got sad when someone got hurt or when they died, and all that kind of stuff. Sorry if I any spoilers, but I didn't say who it was. But very underrated. I highly suggest, if you guys haven't even given Legend of Dragoon a shot, I would really suggest you do. I mean, it's still really cheap to pick up. You could probably pick up a copy of this for less than $20, and then if you don't really want a physical copy, I'm pretty sure it's on PSN for probably 10 or 15. Up next on the Dreamcast. The whole reason why I bought a Dreamcast is for Grandia 2. I loved the first game and was really excited that this game was coming out, but I was like, oh, it's not on PlayStation? Shit, now I gotta buy a whole new system? Well, I'm glad I did, because it introduced me into the Dreamcast, which is a phenomenal system with a lot of great games. Got a loose disc in there. It just improved on the combat. Beautiful visuals, as Dreamcast is known for. I mean, bright, vibrant colors. This game really took advantage of what the Dreamcast could do. I love the combat system. Like I said, as you can see, it's a very colorful game. The characters were really fun, especially the female who was changing between the good version and the bad version of herself. Where is she? I don't even see the good version. That might be her. And then the bad version is the redhead, of course. Lovely fucking game. You guys gotta play that. It's also on, I know it's on PC and PS2, but I heard the PS2 version is a bit slowed down, loading times and whatnot. Next, PS4 game, Hot Dogs. Game already on this current generation that is on my top game list. And as no surprise, it was also my game of 2015. So, y'all know, Bloodborne. I don't think I really need to say a lot about this. I've talked about it enough. So have a lot of other people. I think a lot of people agree with me about this being the top game of last year. It's your Souls games, a lot faster, better atmosphere. I like the whole Gothic Victorian themes. No more turtling, lots of dodging and parrying. It's just a ton of fun. The lore is kind of hard to find, but when you do find it, it's interesting to read about. Definitely a game worth your time. I highly suggest a lot of you give this at least a shot. I mean, I can understand if this game is not for everyone, because it can be quite frustrating. But the good thing about Bloodborne is that you can get your friends in to help you out. So it's got a decent way to play multiplayer to help you advance through the story and through hard bosses and whatnot. So Bloodborne. Up next is another PS1 title. Hardly anybody talks about this game. I swear I'm pretty much the only guy who gives this game a lot of praise, and I think I know why people don't like it, but I don't care. That's Legend of Legaia. The thing that people probably got tired of in this game is because of the battle system. You'd have to enter in a lot of commands to make your characters perform their actions. So it was a very unique battle system where you would input like up, your directions. So you got your right arm, left arm, high attack, low attack, and then you would enter them in certain sequences, and certain sequences would add special attacks to it. So it could have sometimes made battling tedious, but in the game, a lot of people didn't take advantage of was the auto battle, where it would just do it for you. So if you're just kind of grinding or going through an easy area, you really didn't have to take the time to do all the special commands. It had a lot of cool summons that where you would absorb these enemies into your Suru, those things on their arms. But what a great game! I love the battle system personally, and the music was a lot of fun. I really like the music in this game. A very underrated game, in my opinion. This is also not a terribly expensive game. I'd highly suggest you guys give it a shot. Next is on the Wii. It's also won Game of the Year. It was a couple years ago for me. I haven't played the sequel yet, but played the shit out of the original. And that's Xenoblade Chronicles. Man, one of the best soundtracks in an RPG, which is a lot to say because there's a lot of good fucking soundtracks on these RPGs. Characters were a lot of fun. It was interesting to see the voice acting were seemed like Australian voice acting, so which was fine with me. I mean, my wife used to make fun of it. She's like, "Where are all the Aussies in your game? They're driving me nuts." But I didn't mind. I thought it was a lot of fun. The worlds were so big and vast and beautiful. I mean, this was something that I was surprised the Wii was able to handle. I mean, I'm sure it would have looked a lot better on the PS3 or the 360. But the Wii handled it, and it was a lot of fun. I didn't ever have problems with slowdown. Love the battle system. A lot of fun. I liked using different characters, controlling different characters to see how I'd like to change my battle styles. And I heard that the same battle system is in Xenoblade Chronicles X, so I'm excited about that. But I heard Xenoblade Chronicles X also doesn't have quite as good of a story, so it could be a little disappointing, but we'll see after I play it. Anyways, Xenoblade Chronicles. And next is a game on the Super Nintendo, and that would be Chrono Trigger. I'm sure this game makes it on a lot of people's top lists. It's just a solid, fantastic RPG, and holds up well nowadays too. When I first played this game is because I borrowed it from a friend. Played through it, loved it. I loved the animation style, loved the way the characters looked, because at the time, that was when Dragon Ball Z was hitting, and it was real popular and people were loving it. Simple combat, fun story, time traveling mechanic. I just loved it. The where you could team up your attacks, the dual attacks and the triple attacks, between your characters in your party were a lot of fun. Love this game. Getting a Super Nintendo copy, though, unfortunately, can be quite pricey. Unfortunately, I had to pay quite a price to get an original one, too. But I think the definitive edition to play for Chrono Trigger is on the DS, and it's not very expensive. So if you guys haven't played Chrono Trigger, pick up the DS version. It's fantastic. PlayStation, up next. Love this game. So do a lot of people, and it's actually that one right there. Final Fantasy VII. A lot of memories with this game. This was actually my first PlayStation game. I didn't adopt a PlayStation until years later, guys. It was after I got my first job, so it was early in 1999. I was still rocking games on my Super Nintendo. And I finally got enough money, so I went to a used game store, picked up a PlayStation, and picked up a copy of Final Fantasy VII. And man, did I play the shit out of it. I loved it. This game was so amazing. It just made things so... I'm lost for words. But, a lot of times this sits on a lot of people's best game list. Some people shit on it for whatever reason. I don't know why. I don't care. I still love the game. I'm actually replaying through it right now, as it was ported to the PS4 recently with trophy support and all that shit. So I figured that was what perfect time to play through Final Fantasy VII again. Excellent game. Up next is another Dreamcast title. I would consider it another underrated game that isn't talked about enough, and that is Skies of Arcadia. Wow. I remember when I first considered buying this game was because I had an old copy of EGO, sitting on the shitter. I'd be taking a crap and reading through the magazine, and on the back of the magazine was an ad for Skies of Arcadia. With Vice big ugly mug there with the one covered eye and shit, and I was like, what is this game? I started reading about it more. I was like kind of interested, and then I finally found out, oh well, it's an RPG. I love RPGs. What, screw it. I got a few extra bucks. I need a new game, so I ran over down to Best Buy and picked up a copy. And man, was I blown away how this actually became my favorite Dreamcast game. There was a lot of battles. It can be kind of grind heavy because there's just a ton of battles, and the battles aren't necessarily quick, but they were fun and colorful. And it wasn't terribly hard. Some battles were. And then you had the ship combat. That was something new. And I was like, wow, that's so fucking cool. We battled these big ass ships against each other. So much fun. And then you got to build your own, island, and populate it with people, create your own shops and all that other stuff. This is just another mechanic where you could find people around the world to add to your island to help out. The characters were very likable. Lovable. One of the things that I wish that the States got, that I think Europe got, was a collector's edition of this. And it had their flag and stuff on it. Man, great game. Great game. They did remake this on the GameCube, Skies Arcadia Legends, and it is actually a very good version. It added some more content to it. I think it was a little faster too, better load times. I don't know why I still prefer the Dreamcast version. I don't know, maybe because I still think like I said, I'm fascinated with how well the Dreamcast handled vibrant colors. So, and that's a colorful game. All right, we're down to my last four. So I guess Skies of Arcadia was my number 5, guys. So number 4 is a game I put like 150 hours into, and that would be Persona 4. Now, this is the PS2 version, which is the one I put a lot of time into and played a shit ton of. I think if I were to suggest, I would get the Vita, the Golden Edition on the Vita is better. It has a little more content. It's just a little bit more improved. It's gorgeous. But, so, the biggest thing about Persona 4 is that, in my mind, the best character development in any game. You liked every single character in this game, even Teddy. You just learned so much about every character, and who you liked. Sometimes you ended up, trying to date one of the characters like Yukari or Rise, Chie, Naruto, and even Kanji. But, I don't know. I just thought this game was so cool. You got to learn little things about everybody's life. You got to see their weaknesses and who they're afraid of. All those kinds of problems. I just absolutely loved this game. And of course it had the typical Shin Megami Tensei, demons, you could, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of lost for words here. You combine demons to make new demons, all that kind of shit. And, team control, which was big advancement over Persona 3, so you controlled every member in your team as opposed to just the main character. And social links, man, that was the biggest thing. I think that's why I burned so much hours into this game, because I made sure I had as many social links maxed out as I possibly could in this game. Love this game, guys. I'm really excited and looking forward to Persona 5, but I just still don't know when that game's coming out, but love this game. Number 4 is Persona 4. How appropriate. Number 3, Sega Saturn. Dragon Force. I didn't have a Sega Saturn growing up, but my best friend did, and I would go over to his house. I'd spend the night there, and we would just take turns for hours on end playing Dragon Force. You know, hey, okay, I'm gonna play a week in the game. All right, it's your turn. Load up your save file. You can do your week, and then we would experience. We would each be playing with different generals or factions that you were playing as, and we'd each get to just sit there and watch each other play and experience what would happen differently in the game depending on which faction you chose. So it was just a lot of fun. Working Designs title, of course. Big strategic combat. You got to take your generals through different places, and they had different types of troops matching up to them, and they would just battle it out on a big arena. There's a little kind of screenshot of it, and your generals would have spells that they can cast to damage the other enemy general, or take out the enemy troops, all kinds of stuff like that. Some anime sequences. There was so much dialogue in this game, especially if you were battling just other certain characters between each other. There would be special dialogue between them and stuff like that. There's a lot of humor in the game, a lot of seriousness, just a ton of fun. If you like strategic style RPGs with big, massive combat, this is definitely a game for you. What a gem. Love Dragon Force. Number 2. This has been one of my top games for a long time, and I still think it holds up there. It's, in my mind, one of the few RPG masterpieces, and that's Grandia. Love Grandia. When I first picked up Grandia, I bought it on a whim because I was just perusing through Best Buy. I was like, I need a game. Looking. And I saw this Grandia. I was like, well, this cover doesn't tell me much. It's kind of attractive, but I don't know what the hell's going on. Flip her over. No, I don't know. That character looks pretty kiddie. I'm not sure if I'm going to like that. I don't know. I like the graphics. It looks pretty good. Cool spells and stuff like that. What the hell? I'll give it a shot. Man, am I glad I did. This is a freaking phenomenal game. Love the Grandia combat. Story very good. It's almost a very good coming of age game. You got to watch Justin grow up and become an adult pretty much through his adventures in the world. And the game was so real. Even one of the characters got homesick, and she was depressed, and to the point where Justin was like, "Okay, we got to take you home." And that kind of thing just really spoke to me. I really, really love this game, guys. I've talked about it a bunch on my channel, so I'm not gonna bore you to tears with my love of Grandia. That's number 2, guys. Grandia. Number 1, not a big surprise to a lot of you guys, as you know, this is probably my favorite game of all time. Massive collection of memorabilia for this game, and that's BioShock. I didn't play it when it first came out. I played it and got it used, I think, almost a year after it came out. And I fell in love with the atmosphere in this game. Being in Rapture was just so amazing to me. I felt like I was in this world, an entire city underwater. I thought, oh man, this is so amazing. Who am I? What is the story behind this main character? What am I doing here? Oh, these people are fucked up. What happened to this city? It seemed to be such a thriving city that you learned about. And then it looked like it came between just drug-ridden problems, corruption, just a lot of real things in here. You saw a lot of Atlas Shrugged in this game, and this was just absolutely amazing. Fun combat, the unique weapons. Oh, I get to upgrade my stuff. I got some types of magic called plasmids that are unique, doing combos with your magic and your guns. this was an absolute treat. You know, Irrational Games did a very good job when it came to their shooters. They really did a lot of good work with the narrative, with the storytelling, you know, between your characters and what you learned about, and their environments, the attention to detail that they would do. It always blew me away. I just loved exploring Rapture and, you know, just being there. You really felt like you were there, and it was just such a unique world. I love this game. You know, I love the main character. I loved Andrew Ryan. I loved a lot of the characters in this game. I just agreed with a lot of the things they were saying, and I don't know. This game spoke to me like no other game has before. So, my number one game, guys, is BioShock. Alright, folks. I hope you enjoyed my top 18 or 19 games, whatever. I'll number them when I edit this. But those are my top games of all time. The list may change. We don't probably in the future. I'll try to do one of these videos again later on. We'll see. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching.